Hey everyone, Nat Daddy here, back with part 2 of our Thundercats review, part of our Star Comets retrospective. Last time we looked at issues 1 through 12 of the Thundercats. Most of these are direct adaptations from the comic book series, so from the cartoon series. Let's jump into it. First issue here is number 13. Looks like we got Snarf is going to go up against Mumra there. This is the episode when they're trying to capture the unicorns. I remember this right away. See the Thundercats interacting with everybody. Then they get captured as well. Snarf's the only one left, and he's there, and him and his ability to speak with animals is how he's able to infiltrate the pyramid and save the Thundercats. So I do remember this episode. All right. Next episode. Or next book, I should say. This is number 14. This is when they're all hunted and captured by Safari Joe, the ultimate hunter. I always thought he was kind of like a Craven the Hunter ripoff. And he's got this sidekick assistant with him, the robot here. So he's after all the Thunderians. First, he gets the two kittens. And now he sets traps for the other ones. He wants to capture them all and collect them all. Then he gets after Shitara. Captures her. Captures Tigra and Panthro. Because he's this world-class hunter, has so much experience hunting all these creatures. He's able to figure out their weaknesses and capture them. But the Thundercats do prevail in the end. Issue 15. This is that shark one. I remember watching this one just recently, actually. I watched all these recently. And the this shark creature that lives in the river is pretty pretty terrifying, especially if you were a kid watching it. So we see Lion-O out there contemplating life, talking with Jaga. Now they're outside and they're looking for a time capsule that has crashed when they were entering the atmosphere in their plane. So there it is. There you can see the Black Widow shark crossing or in the river of despair. So you got Tigra. He's searching for, like you said, this missing time capsule, and he sees the Mole Man. And he eats the Mole Master. The lady that takes care of all the unicorns, she helps give Lion-O a kind of a temporary rainbow bridge to cross the water, but the shark still manages to break through. And Chitara has to is in the swamp of serpents, so she's dealing with these giant serpents. So. And the Rockmen are there as well. The twins almost get taken out by the Black Widow shark. And Lion-O finds that the time capsule is been found by these cavemen. So he has to challenge the caveman, and the winner gets to keep it. So he wins. And Number 16. I remember this giant spider one as well. Her name is quite original, Spidera. Queen of the spiders. Mumra brings her to life. And he transforms himself to this diamond fly to try to trick Lion-O and trap him. Which kind of works for a while. Takes him into the giant forest of insects. And then he ventures into the, I guess, the hive or the nest or whatever you want to call it, to save Snarf, who has been captured by that Spidera. And the rest of the Thundercats come and save him. Number 17. Start off, we see some gargoyles. They're trying to rob this passer. And the twins actually scare off the gargoyles. So Lion-O realizes that the twins are in trouble. The sword gives them a warning about it, and he heads out to rescue them. Or help them, I should say. And they show up, and he ends up getting sucked into the trap as well. So now the three of them have to find each other in this tower and get their way out. And they do. With all this treasure in that as well, but they leave it behind. All right. Number 18. This is the introduction of Pamra. They think it's a new Thundercat, but it's actually not. It's a another trick of Mumra where he's taken the disguise of this new one called Pamra. He's a puma. Most of the time, Mumra's tricks were the same every time. Let's try and trick him and go in there under disguise. And this one's no different. This time he actually does get the sword, and he gets to infiltrate it all. This is him using it, or at least trying to. But he's not able to because he's not a Thundercat, and it can't be used for evil. So they turn the tables on him and chase him off. Next issue, number 19. This is Shed a Tear for Roberbell. This is the one where I remember to complete a spell, Mumra needs the tear of a Robo-Bear. And she won't cry. So they kind of like torture her a little bit, which is kind of mean, again, for a kid's cartoon. But this Man-O-War steals her. They're trying to, the spell that Mumra is trying to use or enact is for this doom gaze, which is kind of like the power from this pirate lady, Tashi. She has this doom gaze that she can use. But it does not work. She does try to use it, but the Eye of Thundera saves him. Issue 20 of 24. We have the Sword of Omens, the Thunderian Eye, against Excalibur. And that was always kind of a trope in old comics and cartoons and that in the day. There was always some kind of story involving a sword in the stone. And this one's no different. Mumra wants that because he thinks it'll be powerful, even more powerful maybe than the sword, because they are both magical swords. So the Thundercats do meet up with King Arthur. Have a little face-off, realize that they were tricked. I always loved that ad for the original Nintendo games there. That was great. And the two swords end up fighting each other. Magically. Merlin ends up beating Mumra, being more powerful magician. That's a cool pinup page. Alright, just a couple more issues more to go. Issue 21. We have this one where this baby's been abandoned, left at the Thundercats castle, the Thundercats lair, so he takes it back to town, and as soon as Snarf shows up there, everybody's afraid of this baby. Nobody wants this baby, so he's actually kicked out of town with it, so turns out that this baby is more trouble than it appears. So Snarf decides to take care of it for a little while, and the baby escapes, and now he's going after it. This baby gets into all kinds of problems. This is almost like a Looney Tunes cartoon. But here, Snarf's taking care of the baby, falls asleep, and then the mutants here realize about this baby, and they steal him. And once they bring him back home, they realize just how much trouble this baby can be. And I remember that episode as well, too, because like I said, that was kind of a trope that always did show up in cartoons and comics back then. All right, next comic. Issue 22. There's one where there's doubles made of the twins. They call them decoys, thunder decoys. They're kind of like robots. So they send them in, and they infiltrate. And they get the original ones captured. The Thundercats are fighting a sea beast on the coast for some friends of theirs. And it turns out to be Mumra. Surprise, surprise. Everybody heads back home. They start to realize that things are just a little off with the twins. And they do manage to save them. Issue 23, this is the second last issue. You got Lionel going up against one of these giant fish in the water. And he could be drowned, electrocuted, or eaten alive. Wow. Always had some pebbles, some Cocoa Pebbles, Fruity Pebbles ads, especially comics like this and in the cartoons. Lots of cartoons, commercials like those. All right. We have Wily Kit being swallowed by this big sea creature, and it ends up being a mechanical beast. So she's captured by this guy because he wants the help of the Thundercats. So I do remember this. This guy has like these mechanical beasts that he controls. And he's telling the story of how he was attacked by this giant electric robot eel. And now they're going to have to go and try and rescue him. You can see that they're getting attacked and they've been swallowed. They have these shark suits. This is hilarious. Instead of having like undersea deep diving suits, they have these shark suits. And even underwater, the sword can get through, broadcast its message. And the thunder tank, of course, can be submersive in the water. Last issue, issue 24. If you happen to see this one anywhere and it's in good condition, pick it up because it's worth a few bucks. Being the last issue, it's hard to find. Low print for sure. This is one we have the twins. They're out in the forest hunting for stuff, and they find these mushrooms, and then they end up finding these kind of cocoon things hanging down from the tops of the trees, at which they break out, and it ends up being kind of like body snatcher pods type of thing. So once again, more doubles trying to infiltrate and take over the Thundercats. But like I said, this time it's these kind of body snatchers. Cool Sega Master System before the Sega Genesis. I actually really like the Sega Master System. All right. We see that, again, relationships are being tested because these doubles are out there pretending to be the Thundercats when they're not, causing havoc. And again, of course, it's because of Mumra. You can see the doubles end up facing off against their original people, and the Thundercats end up prevailing. Because the Eye of Thundera just kind of dissolves these evil copies. And that was the last issue of Thundercats. Next time we'll look at another great star property. Like, subscribe.